Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit here, back again with Demon Slayer. We are on Season 1, Episode 12, and in the last episode we came across something that they referred to in the title anyway as the Suzumi Mansion. And the Suzumi is a sort of that little high-pitched percussion type drum instrument that you commonly hear in Japanese traditional music. And yeah, that demon is using it, and he's also using this mansion as his sort of hideout. And every time he hits it, it changes the room in some form or fashion. Either it changes it to a different room, or it spins it around. So I don't know if it can do anything else other than that. I don't know what else like, in my head I'm thinking like, well, what else could it possibly do? I don't know, maybe shrink it, increase its size. I don't know. I mean, anything's possible at this point, right? We also got a real good look at Zenitsu, and yeah, we heard him a lot as well, not just look. Yeah, he's a bit crazy, isn't he? He's a bit over the top. But like I said in the last episode, that I don't think. I mean, that while that may be a main facet of his personality, I don't think that really tells the whole story of what Zenitsu is. And right now, he's supposed to be looking after a kid, and he's kind of just going into meltdown, and even the kid gave him some shit for it, which is funny. But I don't know, maybe Zenitsu can step up and actually... I mean, right now, he's fine. He's not really in a world of hurt, because as far as we know, this is the only demon in here, and I kind of believe it probably is the only demon in here. And as long as he doesn't switch out the rooms and find Zenitsu himself, Zenitsu should be safe while Tanjiro and the Boar are dealing with this guy. So yeah, there's that, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Nothing else to really talk about. Pretty quick one. So yeah, we're gonna get an episode 12. If you honestly think, if you obviously want to go watch the reaction, it's not on YouTube, but there is a link down in the description to watch the 10-minute version over on Dailymotion or on my website through the Dailymotion player. And there's also a link in there to the full-length reaction as well. So if you want to see my reaction in full, then you can do with that link down there. But yeah, nothing else to really talk about. So we're gonna get an episode 12 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 12. Cool. Yep, I'm going to be honest. Zenitsu's visuals are just that's my kind of thing. I really love how cool that looks. Like, I love it better than Tanjiro's. Of course, like, it's all just sort of like different styles. Whilst Zenitsu seems to be a lot more explosive and sort of direct, Tanjiro's is a lot more sort of like very technique orientated and very like sort of graceful. Which obviously, it imitates their way of using their sort of techniques. I mean, thunder breathing, of course, is going to be explosive, and water is, of course, like the most graceful. So, it completely makes sense. I mean, we've even got the Boar guy who has self-taught his own, which is beast breathing. Crazy shit. He even didn't say that he was like he didn't recognize himself as human. So that's interesting to go into. But let's talk about Zenitsu for a bit, because it is very interesting. So I think he's like either there is something that has occurred within him during his training that has made him this way, or he has like some sort of split personality disorder. And one side is just a total badass that's capable of doing everything, while the other side is a complete coward. And/or he's narcoleptic. I mean, that could be just a thing of like, because I guess if it was a split personality thing, then it is a case of like it is changed when he falls asleep. It's like bringing out the other side of him almost. Like one side goes to sleep and the other side awakens. That'll fuck you up physically. Like, you just wouldn't have any energy, because you'd never get sleep. But, I don't know the ins and outs of the how the reality in this world works. So could be completely different. But so yeah, he's a badass when he's asleep. I mean, he was talking, but he never once opened his eyes. So it could be just a subconscious thing that's lying sort of dormant, that he's just unaware that he is doing. So it might not be a split personality thing. But it's cool nonetheless. It does. You see, that's the thing, is like, that's what's going to ultimately depend on like what he is, like, because if it is a case of like he just this happens when he's asleep, then we're going to be able to determine when he's going to become a badass every time, which that's something that can sort of detract from certain, like sometimes. And it's interesting because like a few episodes back I was talking about how I like this show because in its approach it's very different to other shows, where other shows like you see the training and you see they're able to learn some new ability, then you can go guess that in the next fight they're going to use it at some point. Whereas in this show, we completely skip past a lot of the training, and we didn't see him learn any of the breathing techniques or all of the forms that he was learning. So when he does use them, like in an actual fight, it's a surprise, and it's like, whoa, fucking hell! It's like something you weren't expecting. And if it is a case of like every time Zenitsu becomes a badass is when he sleeps, then we're going to know exactly when he's going to become a badass, and it's not going to be a surprise. So what I would like to see is like it probably be more of a instant transformation, because like, I don't want it to be so obvious. That's the thing. Like, if the thing is that because this is obviously the first time we've seen it, that it could be just a case of that's the way they did it for the first time, so it's a surprise and it's a shock because like you felt that he was asleep, and you have to give the idea that the kid is in complete that like the kid's pretty much screwed. That's the idea. Is like he's got nobody to help him, so they could have just made it that way, and then in the future you can just have Zenitsu like transform like in the midst of like a transitional sort of move between frames, if you want. I guess that's sort of like the good thing about it, isn't it? Is like the idea that you can have him now sleep for, like 20 seconds. If he's off screen, you don't notice him fall asleep. He changes, but because you know that that's how he changes into this badass, that that he just slept off screen. Now you know that. And I think that'll be beneficial for the show in general, because that's the things that really get you like excited about something. I know that like back in the day, and I mean I still do, especially when things are like anime tends to go really heavy into exposition and stuff, especially about like stuff that's literally just happened. So that's not at all too bad. But there are some times when a show can like they'll do some kind of exposition beforehand, which that one I don't like as much. Like when they're really building up to something that we know is about to happen. I like when things happen on the fly and you're like, shit, did he just do that? Fucking hell. As opposed to like building it up and building it up and building it up. That can be happy? That can be great for like certain things that we are already aware of. Like for instance, like Dragon Ball, I suppose, is a great example of it. Like most of their attacks tend to be like you're powering up something to unleash it. So they're like a lot of their attacks aren't really immediate. In fact, a lot of what Dragon Ball Z is about in their fights is like taking the time to build up. You know, if anything, that is what Dragon Ball Z is. It's fair enough for like you know, that kind of thing, but in these kind of shows, I think it works to the detriment to have some of that and to have a lot of it be completely on a whim and come out of nowhere. Really helps the really like it just sells it for me, I think, because I feel like that's the way the fights are supposed to be played out anyway, especially in a show about like this where you have to be quick, strong, and your strike has to be kind of true in one direction. So it can't be a thing of like you're allowing the enemy to have time to figure out what you're doing. So everything does have to be like sort of quick pace and everything like that. So you know, there is that. I suppose it worked all right in this episode with Tanjiro when like literally towards the end there when he was just about like, you know, there's all kinds of water forms and whatnot, because that tells me that he is planning to use either a previous form that we've seen in a different way, or it's going to be a form that we haven't seen yet anyway. So, you know, it's going to be a surprise either way. So it works all right with that. But yeah, I mean, regardless, yeah, Zenitsu right now has the best visuals, I think, and he's just used one form. But I love it, you know. Like Tanjiro's is graceful, you know, and that is what it is. It's very sort of fits with his personality as well. I feel like Zenitsu's is very it fits with his personality almost on a different way, because it's like he's very loud and obnoxious, and you know he's explosive in his facet of being a coward, and he's this other personality. But you know, and then obviously you got the beast style with the Boar guy, who, you know, as of right now completely suits him down to the ground. So yeah, let's get on to the Boar guy. So yeah, reckless sort of style. He stepped on the kid, poor kid. Tanjiro threw him away, and the Boar guy came back at him and basically said that humans never thrown me that far before. So I was wondering. I think he's a human that has sort of. I don't think he thinks he's a demon. I think he feels like he himself is a beast. Like, I think that's what he epitomizes himself as. Like, I think he's actually biologically a human with a boar head on, but I think he's probably spent all of his time in the wilderness alone around nature and stuff like that, and just become like a sort of just a king of the forest type thing. Like, you know, like he's the top of the food chain kind of thing, and I think he just thinks he is a beast himself. I think that's probably what it is, and that's why he chooses to you know, to mention like Tanjiro as a human. And humans never throw me that far. So yeah, I think that was sort of well written in the fact that they were probably going for the idea that if you think that he's not human, your first instinct is to go, well, what is he, a demon? I don't think so. I think he just thinks himself as he's you know, an animal and a beast. So yeah, and there was actually multiple demons in there as well. So there was 3 of them all together that obviously they showed. So I'm guessing there was 3 in there. 2 of them already dead. So there's that. And yeah, that means there's 3 for the demon slayers to kill. You know, the Boar guy's already killed one. Zenitsu's killed one. Now it's up for Tanjiro to take care of the Suzumi guy. So yeah. Yeah, so at the end there, Orokataki was given the Bruce Lee speech about be like water. You know, I have no tattoos right now, but that was actually what I was thinking of getting. My first tattoo was be like water, so there's that. And I mean, and he has me just saying that like I prefer Zenitsu's breathing technique over Tanjiro's, but you know what I mean. I mean, Bruce Lee's just like up there with just one of the most influential people of all time, one of my favorite people that ever exist. So you know what I mean. I would just love that fucking, just want that tattoo. But Yeah, so it's just like, you know, if you put water inside a cup, it becomes the cup, you know? So it's just all about becoming what you want to be. If you want to be a weapon, right? And use it for that degree. It's like, it just works obviously so well with the fact of being, you know, of water breathing. Like, that's why Tanjiro's attacks are so graceful and everything like that, is because he is, the way that he is maneuvering his sword around is very, there's no like sharp sort of, then sharp's a weird term to use considering you're talking about a sword, but there's no like sharp movements in everything, right? It's not like very jagged in his movement. It's all like very like swished and around and shit like that. So you know, no wasted movement, I suppose it could be the term to use there. But yeah, cool. What else? What else we've got? What else? So yeah, the older brother was found, and he got the littlest scratch on him. I guess that's from when he got taken. Like, he just got, you know, like scraped a bit on his shin. But you know, but yeah. So the three of them, the three of the demons in there started fighting, of course, between themselves because, you know, they're very much, you know, they want their own prey. So they fought. To have him, because specifically because he's a Marechi. That's what they refer to him as, because he has that sort of rare blood. But yeah, so in the fight, they took off the Suzumi that changes the rooms to different places. So it's interesting. I don't know if it changes the rooms around or it teleports the person. I don't know. Or it teleports everybody inside that room. I guess it does teleport the room, right? But it moves the rooms around. Like, it doesn't, because, you know, because Zenitsu tried to open up the front door and it led to a different room. So it has to maneuver them around, like, yeah, I don't know, it's just crazy shit. But anyway, yeah, so interestingly enough, the Suzumi still actually worked, even though it was torn from his body. So yeah, that does sort of go along with, like, what I was talking about, how it feels as though they are conjured by the demon themselves and it's part of them. It's like part of their body, almost. And therefore, you're able to use it even though it came off. So yeah, it was him that was changing the rooms and it wasn't the other guys. Also, did you see where it was? It was here on his back. So if he wanted to hit it, he would have to... Did anyone else not think about that? It's a bit of an odd place to have it, right? I mean, you've got all this space on the front. You know what I mean? You've got... He's using what? Here, here, here. Like, could you not have had it there? Arm? I don't, you know? But no, let's have it on the back. There. That's going to be great every time you need it, you know? And he's muscly as well. Like, the more muscle you get on the arms, the harder it is to get to your back. So, no. Bit of a stupid place to put it, if you ask me, but, you know, doesn't matter anyway. Got torn off. So yeah, and then obviously, yeah, they're talking about the Marechi. So the Marechi are a human with rare blood. Now, it didn't specifically turn out the whole, you know, A, B, O, B thing, blood type that we are obviously familiar with, but that, you know, I think they did it for a specific reason, because that is not, like, I'm sure the blood type in real life, that doesn't equivalent, like, to whatever the Marechi is anyway. In real life, that, like, let's say, for example, what's the rarest blood type? Is it like AB or something? Or is it, no, it's O, isn't it? Yeah, it's A is the most I think A is the one that most people have, I think. And I think O is the rarest. So let's just say that Morechi is O, for example, right? This is obviously hypothetical, so I don't think they're going with the actual A, B, B, and O. But let's just say hypothetically that Morechi was O. In real life, O blood type, I'm pretty sure, isn't 50 people's worth of nutrition in their blood compared to A. I'm pretty sure that's not the case. So, it's something that obviously doesn't relate to real life, and therefore that's why I don't think they did bring up the actual real life like blood types, and they're just going to refer to it as Morechi, and that's the equivalent of. They didn't say it specifically. It's just like between 50 and 100 humans, I suppose. So, yeah, it makes sense why that Suzumi demon guy would want to have one of those, because when Muzan showed up and basically said, "Can you eat any more?" No, because he was probably eating just humans that weren't Morechi, and he would have to eat like 50 humans at least just for one Morechi. So the idea is he's going after the Morechi so that he can, get back into the 12 Kizuki, because it sounded like he was already in there and he got taken out. That's what it sounded like, the way Muzan was going on. And it brought up like the sort of like the silhouettes of them and whatnot, but they really blacked it out towards the top end, and you could only really see the bottom end, which, like if you haven't seen like my Hunter x Hunter or anything like that, when they put silhouettes, I like to try and determine their shape and whatnot so that I can kind of store them in the memory bank, and then when they come up and it's like, that looks similar, you know what I mean? It's normally the hair that really tips me off, because obviously animated hair and stuff, but yeah, I couldn't really see what was going on there. I know one like had kind of spiky hair and he looked like he was like one of the tallest ones, but we'll see what comes of that. But yeah, I mean that's that. That's all I've got. So thank you everyone for watching. In the description below, I have links to certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there if you want to, ask any questions, anything like that. Feel free to. And I also have a Patreon page as well. So if you do want to support me on Patreon, that'd be very much appreciated. There is a bunch of different tiers and rewards there, depending on how much you want to support me with. So there's the early access tier, $5 a month. Gives you access to shows a week early. That means you can go get access to episode 13 and 14 right now over on my Patreon for early access. So go and enjoy that if you want. There's also a full-length tier there as well. So if you want to see all of my episodes that I react to in full, then you can go get that. And there are other tiers where you can pay to have a certain show react to as well. So if you want me to react to a show, go look at those tiers and see what they offer. But that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.